everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're going to be comparing a 2021 Ram TRX to a 2020 Ford Raptor. You guys already saw my comparison with the TRX versus the Shelby Raptor, but now we have a stock Raptor versus a stock TRX. But first and foremost, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Ford Lincoln here in Provo for giving me some time with my old Raptor that I sold to them. So I'm going to include a link to their inventory in the link below where obviously you can buy my old Raptor, and they've got the price there on the front of the windshield. But let's get into our comparison. Now let's pop under the hoods of both of the trucks. Starting over here with the TRX, we have a supercharged 6.2 liter V8 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 10 around town and then 14 on the highway, with power outputs being 702 horsepower and then 650 pound-feet of torque. And if you're wondering, yes, there's a massive plastic covering, but if you like peek really far down here, then you guys can kind of see, well, at least part of the Hellcat engine. Coming over here to the Raptor, we have a twin-turbo 3.5 liter V6 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 15 around town and then 18 on the highway, with power outputs being 450 horsepower and then 510 pound-feet of torque. And well, we can actually see a little bit more happening here under the hood. I love how the city fuel economy is better than the highway fuel economy over on the TRX. Now let's go over the front end of the TRX and the Raptor. Starting over here with the TRX, notice that you've got a bunch of crazy hood venting here. So you've got the venting there in the center with the marker lights, and then you have it all up the side. Got the 6.2 liter supercharged badge there as well. And then coming down below, we've got full LED lights, and then you've got another marker light there on the side. The TRX does come with fog lights, and then you've got parking sensors along the front bumper here with the skid plate, and then your tow hooks. And then you do have the Ram logo, which is hollow there on the front end. And then popping over to the Raptor, because this Raptor has like the satin black with the satin orange, everything kind of pops a little bit more here from a front end perspective. You've got the venting there at the top of the hood, and then I love how you have the orange accent light around the LED headlights, and then you've got the marker lights there all in the center. You've got the Ford logo, which also, I happened to wrap that in orange, which was pretty cool. And then you've got the tow hooks here on the front end of the Raptor as well, with the skid plate and all that. But just notice with the Raptor, it's kind of more of like a boxy type design, whereas everything with the TRX is kind of more rounded off. Let's start things with the tire and wheel setup. So first off, we've got 18-inch wheels over on the TRX, and we've got 17-inch wheels on the Raptor. They both have 35s, but the TRX has 325mm for the tires, and then the Raptor tires are 315mm. And then here's a quick look at the actual design there on the wheel for the TRX. These are the beadlock capable wheels for the TRX, and then these are the beadlock capable wheels for the Raptor. I feel like the design on the wheel for the Raptor just looks a little bit cleaner, if you ask me. But yeah, there's the Raptor, there's the TRX. Let's go over the rest of the stuff here on the side. Something that's pretty interesting is, since the Raptor doesn't have fog lights from the factory, it's pretty cool that you can see through this little area here on the bumper, so you can actually see the Fox shocks that come with the Raptor. And that's another distinction. The Raptor has 3-inch Fox shocks, whereas the TRX has 2.5-inch Bilsteins. And here's kind of a quick look at what you can see here on the TRX, and then compare that to everything here on the Raptor. Notice the gap difference kind of here with the Raptor versus the TRX. The TRX almost seems like it sits lower on the front end. And then coming here to the rear, again, notice you've got the Bilsteins here over on the TRX, and then you've got the Fox shocks over here on the Raptor. And again, it seems like the gap with the TRX is almost a little bit smaller. And then also look at the offset. So the TRX looks like it has a positive offset. Hopefully that camera angle captures it. Whereas the Raptor, it looks like it's like very slightly positive, but it's like almost like right there in the middle. It seems like a TRX is a little bit more, so that's another kind of distinction. And then yes, I had the Raptor logo on this when I got it, which I thought was like a really cool look. And then the TRX complete plain. Notice they both have like off-roading side steps. So there's the TRX, and then there is the Raptor. So again, that's kind of like another little distinction. The last thing I want to mention is it seems like the TRX is actually a little bit taller than the Raptor. I don't know if it's capturing very well on camera. Of course, the pillar gets in the way. But like, it just looks like the TRX is just very, very slightly taller than the Raptor. It's like a very, very small amount. Now let's pop in the beds of both the trucks, starting over here with the TRX. Notice that you've got a full liner here in the back of the TRX, and then you've got the little sliders here on this little portion, and this does come with LED lights as well. And this one does have the tire carrier, so you've got the spare tire here in the center of the bed, and then the ram bar there at the top. Payload capacity is about 1,034 pounds. The Raptor payload capacity is 1,067 pounds, so the Raptor actually has a little bit more payload. And then this one does have, again, a bed liner all throughout the truck. You still get the LED bed lights. No tire carrier or anything like that. The tire's actually underneath the truck, but I'll show that to you guys in just a moment. That's the bed of the Raptor. That's the bed of the TRX. Now let's go over the rears of both the trucks. First off, before we go over anything else, the towing capacity on the TRX is just over 8,000 pounds. And then on the Raptor, it's almost 8,000 pounds. It's like 7,000 something. So towing capacity on the truck's pretty similar. But starting over here with the TRX, notice that you've got the full LED lights here, and you've got like the blacked out portion here in the center. And then the marker lights actually down there on the little fender flare. And then you've got the full blacked out bumper here on the rest of the rear. This one does have the kickstep. And then just look at the exhaust tips on the TRX, pretty big for a stock truck. And then you've got the recovery hooks here on the rear, and then the receiver hitch just down below. And then you do get your TRX badge, your Ram badge, your 4x4 badge, all the normal stuff. And then coming over to the Raptor, still get full LED lights. You've got the Ford logo. And then this does have an aftermarket exhaust made by Corsa. It's really loud, and well, the exhaust tips are also pretty big as well. Parking sensors here along the rear of the Raptor. And I think I confirmed this. Like, okay, look at the trucks here. You can see the Raptor mirror and the TRX mirror. Like, the TRX just sits, I think, like you can see from this angle a little bit better, definitely sits higher than the Raptor. Popping into the back of the Raptor here, notice you've got the carbon fiber trim there in the center portion right here, and then notice the material use on the side of the door. And then here are the seats. So this Raptor has the Recaro seats in it. So you've got the full blue Alcantara there in the center portion with the blue stitching. And then again, remember, you've got the off-road side step. And then if we actually pick up the seat, you've got a decent amount of storage space underneath the seat itself. And then you guys can see you've got a couple cup holders right here. You've got heated seats, and then you got a little area where you can charge some devices here in the rear. And this pulls down to be an armrest and has some cup holders, as you can see. Now I'm not going to pop in because it's snowing like crazy. I don't want to get these seats like dirty or wet or anything. But in terms of like legroom and headroom, it's pretty equal between both the trucks. Here's the door panel in the back of the TRX. So notice that you've got a bunch of like leather and Alcantara red stitching all across the door panel right here, and some carbon fiber trim as well. One of the speakers for the Harman Kardon sound system. Rubber floor mat still. And then coming to the seats, instead of like the blue, you've got the black with the red accenting. So kind of like similar theme in terms of seats, except this one has a whole lot less red than the Raptor has blue, which is kind of sad. But you do have the suede there in the center portion. And then picking up, you got some storage space under there, and I guess my papers and everything. But then coming over here, notice that you've got some carbon fiber there, you've got some venting, a bunch of little areas where you can charge devices and all that. And like I said, headroom and legroom is pretty similar between both the trucks. Now here's the door panel in the front of the Raptor. Notice that you've got leather here on the side with the blue stitching, then more carbon fiber, all of your window controls, and then your mirror adjustments, and the mirrors do power fold in. And then you got your memory seats just down below. Ford Performance right here. And then again, you've got the seats. So you've got the Raptor logo, and then you've got all of the blue Alcantara here in the center portion of the seats, which looks really good. Your power adjustments are on the side of the seat, and then you got the pedals down below. Notice you got your parking brake right here. You've got this for the pedal adjustment, light controls just up above, and then you got the lights out either side. And then you do get your adjustment for the steering wheel, the giant paddles. And those are one more look before we actually pop into the Raptor. Let's go over everything here in the interior of the Raptor. So I love the red marker there at the top of the steering wheel. Smooth leather all around with the blue stitching here on the center portion. You've got your volume controls on this side, and then you got your drive mode select with your steering mode. You've got your phone controls right here, cruise control on the other side, and then controls for the center. And then we do have the paddle shifters there in the back, which are very nice. And then you got your little stalk there for the turn signal. And then popping in a little bit closer, you guys can see you've got the gauge cluster here. So mostly analog. There is a screen there in the center which shows you different bits of information on the Raptor. Probably the off-road status and the Raptor status are the most important things if you ask me. But yeah, overall pretty good, and shows you a decent amount of information. Now you do have the different steering modes. So you've got a couple different modes. You've got your normal, your sport, and then your comfort. I mostly drove my truck in the sport mode. I just liked kind of like how the steering felt. And then we've got the drive mode. So we just went from normal, and of course it pops over deep sand and snow. And then from that you've got Baja, rock crawl, slippery, tow haul, and then sport, and then back to normal. Mostly drove it in normal mode, occasionally driving it in sport mode. And then coming over here, notice you've got your auto stop start. This is for the camera system to turn it on or off, which definitely pretty cool. It does have the 360 view, and if we pop it into reverse, you got the backup camera that'll pop up, and then it does have trajectory lines. You can zoom in on the receiver hitch. And then as for the rest of the infotainment system itself, response time is really good on the screen. I had no complaints with this infotainment system as an owner. I felt like it did everything that I needed it to do. Paired my phone and played my music. Coming down below, we've got our analog controls for that infotainment system. Got a full power outlet just right next to it. And then we've got our drive line select. So this is a huge difference with the Raptor, is it has two-wheel high. The TRX does not have two-wheel high, and then this has four-wheel auto, four-wheel high, four-wheel low, and then the locker. And then we got the trailer backup system, analog climate controls, and this does come with heated and cooled seats and a heated steering wheel. The heated steering wheel button is actually here in the center infotainment system. You've got a climate, and then you've got menu, and you have to press menu, and then you've got the heated steering wheel button. Kind of a process. More carbon fiber down here, and if we open this little tray up, it's an extra storage space with a couple of USBs. And then you've got the nice carbon fiber shifter. Definitely still love the feel of the carbon fiber shifter here in the Raptor. And then you can shift the gears yourself with those little buttons right there. Notice the blue stitching, and then you've got your lane departure thing. And we've got a couple of cup holders. Center console with the suede here on the side. I definitely like this center console compared to the TRX just because you have the leather all across the top, so where you actually rest your arm, you don't have to worry about running the material. You guys will understand when we go into the TRX. And then you've got, you know, a decent amount of storage space inside of it. More carbon fiber here, and then you've got leather on the dash with the stitching, and then opening up the glove box. Pretty good with the storage space. And, well, that's that part of the Raptor. Popping up top, notice that you've got all of your auxiliary buttons. Now this has 6 different auxiliary buttons, and then we do have a power sliding window there for the rear. Full panoramic sunroof, which we are not going to open because it's snowing today. Sunglass holder, universal garage door openers. It's an all black headliner. Let's head to the TRX. Here's the door panel in the TRX. So again, you've got the nice leather here with the Alcantara down below and the carbon fiber, and then more leather and red stitching, and then a couple speakers there for the sound system, your memory seats. And then here are the seats at the front of the TRX. So you've got the leather headrest, and then you got the TRX logo right there, and then full leather, again with more red. And then you got your adjustments here on the side of the seat, and then you got the pedal layout down below, and you got the power adjustable pedals with the parking brake, light controls here on the side. The steering wheel is manually adjustable, and then there's a quick look at the paddles. And there's one more look before we actually pop in. Now let's quickly go over things in the TRX. So first off, with the steering wheel, you've got Alcantara at the top and at the bottom, and then you've got perforated leather here on the side. We're actually going to grab onto the steering wheel, and then you've got the red stitching. You've got your cruise control here, and then your adaptive cruise control, and then you've got your voice command, phone controls, and then controls for the center screen. And then you do have the cool paddle shifters. Radio controls are on the back, kind of like in between the gap with the paddles, and that's kind of like their design here with the blade-like design that I'm not in love with, but I understand why they did it. And then again, you've got your little stock for the turn signal and windshield wipers, same thing as the Raptor. And then coming to the center stack, notice they did the same thing as what the Raptor has. So you've got analog gauges, and then you have a screen there in the center. The screen does look a little bit different. And then notice that with this, I've got the tire PSI at about 36. That's typically what I'd have the Raptor at around, somewhere around that amount. But yeah, you've got pretty similar information with this as you do have with the Raptor, just looks a little bit different with the screen. And then coming out from the screen, we've got the giant 12-inch display here in the TRX. Above it, we've got our hazard lights, and then your lane departure assistance. Analog climate controls on either side. And with this screen, I mean, it's got a lot of similar functions to the Raptor. So like you still get the whole like 360 camera system with the bird's eye view and everything. You can still go through the different little viewpoints with the camera. You can still zoom in on the receiver hitch, and pretty dirty there, obviously, with all the snow and everything. But the biggest difference, obviously, well, is the size of the screen, and then you can do split screen. So notice we've got the control tab up, and yeah, that's pretty cool. The other big difference, though, the forward camera here on the TRX has actual tire lines. So in the Gen 1 Raptor, they had a camera like this, but for some reason in the Gen 2s, they got rid of it, and the TRX has this. So from like a front camera perspective, definitely more practical for the off-road. But yeah, so far living with this, I have liked it a little bit more than the Raptor infotainment system. But like, if I didn't have this, then it wouldn't be like a, I don't know, it's not like a must-have for me, but it's definitely nice to have is the best way for me to describe it. And then we've got our parking sensors down here, 4 auxiliary switches, so you've got 2 less than the Raptor. You've got your trailer steering, trailer brake controls, And then over here, we've got our drive mode select and then also our drive line select. So you've got your 4-wheel auto, your 4-wheel high, your 4-wheel low, and then your axle lock. This does have launch control, which is epic. And then you've got your off-road cruise control and your stability control. Now the drive modes, you can press these buttons right here to go through them, and it'll kind of do it right there. But what I found that's a lot easier to do actually, and I know it has to do with going to the touchscreen, is just going to the TRX page. And I found that this just is easier to use because when you press this button, sometimes it doesn't always like respond, and it's kind of annoying, and it doesn't exactly do what you want to do. Whereas this, it's a lot easier to use, and you can skip through. So like if I want to go straight to sport, I can just press sport. If I want to go back to auto, I can press auto. I just feel like it's a lot easier to use from an owner's perspective. And then we do have the shifter here for the 8-speed automatic, and again, you can shift the gears yourself. Got the wireless phone charger, got a couple cup holders, and then we've got the center console. Now this is what I was talking about. I wish the Alcantara was here on the sides or something, because like every time I rest my arm in here, I know that I'm like slowly running the Alcantara, which makes me sad inside. And then we've got some extra storage space there with my wallet if you guys want to steal my credit card information. And then you've got the little measuring tables there on the back, and then you got the dual glove box. So I guess, you know, pretty neat with that whole situation. And then notice material use, got nice carbon fiber. The leather's definitely nicer here in the TRX than the Raptor, and there's definitely more surface area covered here with nice material. So I mean, that's definitely a plus with the TRX. And then popping things up to the very top, still get a power sliding window. Here in the TRX, still get a panoramic sunroof, still get universal garage door openers, and then this one does have the camera mirror. It's definitely an option that like was pretty much a must-have for me. It's really cool now living with it. I absolutely love it. Let's get into pricing on the trucks, and don't worry about that truck right there in the center. So the TRX stickers for about $95,000, and then a fully loaded 2020 Raptor is about $74,000, almost $75,000. So there's about a $20,000 price difference. Now let's get into summing things up with our video comparing the 2020 Raptor to the 2021 Ram TRX. So first off, and I know that there's this Raptor here in the middle now, don't worry about it. It's just sitting there looking pretty. From an exterior aesthetic perspective, and I like this Raptor actually because it's more similar in color to the TRX, so you can kind of see things better, whereas the bright orange kind of throws things off a little bit. I feel like they're both really good looking trucks. The Raptor is kind of more boxy and aggressive, whereas the TRX is kind of more rounded off, but I feel like they're both good looking. Now, from the interior perspective, the TRX does have a nicer looking interior, but I mean it better because it's over $20,000 more, so it makes sense that it has a nicer interior from a material standpoint and all of that. And then from a performance standpoint, well, you guys will see the driving comparison shortly, so you guys can hear about that, but there obviously is a difference with the performance. And again, I'm going to put a poll down below so you guys can vote which truck you would pick, whether it be the TRX or the Raptor. And well, it's this Raptor versus that TRX, but I mean, you guys get the point. Now, that is going to sum things up for a video comparing this 2020 Ford Raptor to this 2021 Ram 1500 TRX. And again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Ford Lincoln here in Provo for giving me some time with this Raptor. They have this one, and then this one's a 2018, I believe. So they've got two of them on the lot right now if you're interested. Check out their inventory. I'll see all of you guys in the next video.